What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Keefe of GhostCultMag.com. We are here with a live stream, my first live stream officially in my new place, although I've done a few from here before. I've done a lot of interviews from here, as I spent the last year and a half with my fiance, and now we're cohabitating. So I'm here. The new studio is not quite set up, but I wanted to come on and make sure I didn't miss a week with you guys. I did miss last week packing and all the things. I'm playing a bit of catch up. We're still unpacking the house, and I'm getting my new studio set up going, which I will then share with you guys. Maybe I'll do a special video just on our setup. A lot of people ask us how we get our cool looking studio setups. I have one, Omar has one. So yeah, glad to be back with you guys. It has been a week. It is technically the 4th of July, so if you're in America, happy Independence Day. If you're in the United Kingdom, fuck off traitors, as you like to say. GG fan is here. What up? What up? As I say every week of this juncture of the show, hey, Martin BC is here. What's up? This is your show. Also, these shows will always be free. I'm here to share the rock and metal news of the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So we have a jam-packed show to get in with and get on with. And so I'm going to jump right in. I have a little deck I have prepared as always. If you're watching this and this is your first time here, please like and subscribe. It helps us survive. We are like a small band. We are a DIY enterprise. We do get some money from advertising and sponsorships, but mostly we are self-propelled, DIY, community-driven company. And we're trying to build a place for rock and metal heads to get unfiltered, real news, which you can't get everywhere because there's a lot of bullshits out there. Heathen666 is here. GG fan is here. Good to see you. Looks like some people are watching on the tube of you. Looks like some folks are watching on good old Instagram. Thanks for being here. Little late night. If you're watching this on the replay on our podcast, thank you. We appreciate you. I got myself a liquid death. Cheers. I'll talk about some of my health stuff coming up in a second. I did get a new 6-pack of the brand new Lagunitas Fable Beard, which is fairly rad. I have to crack that open and check it out, but here we go. Here we go. As usual, we start the show with the announcements, so let's just do that. Hey, Tone Valens is here. I was in 96. Got Farrell. That's funny. Marie. So, heavy stuff with the announcements. Obviously, this week we had the loss of Shaun Glass as a member of the metal community for 35, 40 years. A fixture of the Chicago scene. He was in Broken Hope and a bunch of other death metal bands originally. Then he formed Soil, which went on to international success, and Ozfest and Mayhem Fest and things like that. And he had a stroke about a month ago. His new band, Repentance, is actually about to drop their new album later this month. And he had a stroke and he passed away a couple of days ago. And a GoFundMe was launched for him and his family. He leaves behind his wife, Michelle, and his son, Maddox. So there's a GoFundMe on. There's a link in our description if you want to check it out. So yeah, just anything you can do. I know these are tough times for everybody, and I just want people to know that is a thing they can do. We've been sharing a lot of heavy news, heavy emotion news lately, as suicidal tendencies would say. Dave Stinson, I don't know if you guys are old school like me, but Touch and Go was a phenomenal zine and later on a record label that put out some iconic punk rock and alternative rock albums. And Dave Stinson was the main progenitor of that project. He passed away this week. I just found that out right before we went live. Really sad. Here's another one. This one, we always kind of do a little bit of pop culture stuff. And I don't know if you guys were fans of the original Mad Max, The Road Warrior Beyond Thunderdome, those Mad Max albums. Kjell Nielsen, who was Lord Humongous in the original Mad Max, died. Apparently, he had a life that his whole life was a movie, kind of, which you love to hear about. He was a character, is what they're saying, in the best way. Celebrating birthdays this week at the beginning of July, Roddy Bottom of Faith No More, reactivated Faith No More. Man on Man, the Nasty Band, here seen here in this image, except for you guys on TikTok. Nasty Band just played with Napalm Death and Primitive Man on the Rocks Off cruise, as well as a whole tour. I'm Mary Williams. What up, what up? Ken Kaltenbach. I know, man, I know. Right in the childhood. But hopefully there's some pop culture stuff that will help out in a little bit. But anyway, Roddy Bottom separating a birthday. I love his I Hate the Sex Pistols shirt he has here. Let's see who else is celebrated a birthday this week. Blondie turned 81. Deborah Harry, my first woman crush ever. She's Blondie basically after the death of Clem Burke. Basically said they're kind of done. It's a touring entity, but still a badass. Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage and Times of Grace celebrated her birthday this weekend. Moa Metal from Baby Metal has a birthday on July 4th. Pretty killer. Other birthdays this weekend: Ringo Starr of the Beatles and Ringo Starr Everything, and also Stephen Pearcy of Rat. For some metal history this week, 40 years ago this week, Aerosmith and Run DMC released Walk This Way. For better or worse, it shook up the whole musical world. We were already sort of rock bands doing rap, and there were some rappers rocking, and obviously Run DMC took a lot of, and LL Cool J and early hip-hop took a lot of influence, and way before them even took a lot of influence from rock music, but also perpetuated it around the world. And Walk This Way, I mean, Aerosmith was at their lowest moment. They were like, they had made a reunion album with Joe and Steven, but it was really, done with mirrors, just, again, double entendres, always about drugs and sex. But they were really raggedy, Aerosmith. They were barely hanging on together, and Run DMC could not have been bigger. So in truth, Run DMC helped Aerosmith return to, what became their big run of the late 80s and 90s. Walk This Way, 40 years this year and this weekend. Also, Kiss, the first Kiss reunion tour with Ace and Peter, the 1996 World Tour kicked off technically on June 29th. I have this poster here from June 30th at Freedom Hall, the first time in 17 years, all the original members, but even that was kind of exaggerated. But anyway, and then kind of also Alice in Chains had been the opening band for some of those first Kiss shows back. And July 3rd, today or yesterday, July 3rd was the final live appearance ever by Lane Staley of Alice in Chains with Alice in Chains, opening for Kiss in 1996. So really, really sad. Also, Texas Jam with 2 X's, the world famous World Music Festival. Aerosmith again, unfortunately. Pedo Nugent, Journey, Heart, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Headies, Van Halen, Frank Marino and Mahogany Rush, Eddie Money, Journey, Walter Egan, Cheech and Chong's. Kind of funny to see how low down on the bill Van Halen is on here, but interesting nonetheless. Late 70s, early 80s were big for like spectacle, rock concerts. They were always trying to recapture that Woodstock spirit. Hey, Raquel is here. We're passing by. Congratulations. You saw Chains open for Van Halen. Was that the Van Halen 3 tour with Gary Sharon? The ill-fated Van Halen 3, which, is not Gary Sharon's fault that he's not David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar. But yeah, man, that's rad, Ken. That's rad. Congratulations on your nuptials, Raquel. I am soon to join you, and we do actually have a little shout out to you in a little bit. Axl Rose, this is a crazy one. This weekend in 1991, Axl left the stage not feeling well during the St. Louis River Plate Amphitheater show, and a riot ensued, and they were banned from the city forever. And they're supposed to be playing St. Louis this summer. Would be the first time in 36 years they have played there, or 35 years. But yeah, wild. Ozfest 2000 kicked off this weekend in history. Ozzy, Pantera, Godsmack, Static X, Incubus, Methods of Mayhem with Tommy Lee, POD, Queens of the Stone Age, just kind of peaking, about to peak. Soulfly, Kitty, Crazy Town, The Deadlights, Disturbed, way on the second stage. Pitch Shifter, Primer 55, Killer Band, Pump Jack, who were friends of Pantera's, Reveille, Chuvelle, Slaves on Dope, and Taproot. Yeah, wild shit. Pantera was really, this was kind of one of their last tours ever. Pretty killer. Lindsey Borden released an album in history. Is not great, but you know, Fate's Warning has a great album anniversary this weekend. Hammerfall, the original album by Immortal, excuse me, not Mayhem. They all kind of start looking alike after a while. Yeah, they all start kind of looking alike after a while. What are you gonna do? So yeah. Yeah, this is an incredible album. Dio, The Last in Line, came out on this day in history. Alice Cooper, Hey Stupid, one of his sort of better albums of that era. There's a lot of not great albums in that era. But whatever. Silver Dose, what's up? What's up? Good to see you. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, not rock or metal, but I think just we heard it on the radio today, and it was like Into the Great Wide Open was this huge hit record. It wasn't his breakout record, but it was kind of his biggest selling record. Violence, The Eternal Nightmare. High School Me was extremely stoked on this record. I got to see it in full a few years ago before Phil Demmel stepped down from the band. Pretty great. They're still kind of touring the hits. Violence is. Amon Amarth, Deceiver of the Gods came out this week in history. Massacre, From Beyond, like a horrendous album cover. I don't know what the shit this is, but like great album, great old school death metal if you're a fan. I know I'm a fan. He played guitar then. Yeah, no, it was Hagar. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, of course he, you know. My brother tried to always sell me on Van Hagar as like he can also play guitar and back up Eddie. And I was like, Eddie Van Halen doesn't need another guitar player. The only other guitar I need in Van Halen is Ice Cream Man when David Lee Roth does Ice Cream Man. But anyway, I can't do Van Hagar, man. I never could, and I still can't. But no disrespect. If you saw him, that's cool. I got to see DLR once. I'm stoked. Here, Ken, this will make you feel better. It's kind of like we're living in several realities. Terminator 2 was released this weekend in history in 1991. Speaking of Guns N' Roses, with the You Could Be Mine track. Come with me if you want to live. Get to the chopper. Love Arnie. And then also, Back to the Future was released this weekend in 1985. Incredible. 41 years. Just a reminder, if you'd like to, if you're feeling tipsy and you want to buy us a super chat or a super like or a super thanks on YouTube or tip us on one of the Tara's here. What's up, Tara Bethune? Yeah, Massacre, great album. The album cover is kind of terrible. But a lot of early death metal albums that aren't Obituary or Cannibal Corpse are kind of horrible. Yeah, You Could Be Mine. I also used to sing You Could Be Mine. It's really hard to sing those high notes and that long note at the end. But anyway, here's our tip menu. If anybody's feeling generous, we appreciate it. We're working on getting some other stuff up and running in the near future. You can follow us on all our things. That always helps. Here's our Cash App. I'm still haunted by this photo of Buzz Osborne, Adam Jones of Tool, and Mike Patton. Patton's going to come up a few times in the show today also, as well as Melvin's. But let's talk about some features here on the channel, things you might have missed this week while I was busy getting moved in. I did a live stream last week about the Deftones leak of Eros and why these crazy Reddit fans and these maniacs don't deserve. You really kind of like, if you know, the fact that the band has been ambivalent to it is crazy, you know? Like, it's not crazy that they're ambivalent to it, but like the fan reaction has been kind of disturbing and weird. Don't be a weirdo. Like, you know, it wasn't out for a reason. Someone leaked it. It wasn't the band. I like that I used the Deftones font, kind of the small case font here. Nice touch by me. This photo is awesome. It's from Sick New World 2023. Shot by Kim Hansen, friend of Ghost Cultist, as I like to say. I did another live stream prior to that about Faith No More, the unlikeliest reunion of all time. But I'm stoked to hopefully see one of my favorite bands next year. As the years go on, they become more and more my favorite band. We did a album premiere today for the Brazilian progressive stoner rock band Gods and Punks, Shrine by the Sea. It's a concept album about the ocean, and it's pretty rad. We streamed the whole album at our site. You can check it out now. I have new interviews with Dave Haley of Psychroptic. They have a brand new album coming out on Metal Blade Records. I'm a longtime Psychroptic fan. Him and his brother also have the band The Amenta, which is more of like an industrial black metal, death metal band. But, you know, clearly this new album, The Pulse of Annihilation, is one of their best albums. It's coming out in about 3 weeks. Yeah, no doubt. Also, brand new interview with Camden Cruz of Seven Kingdoms. They just crowdfunded their upcoming new album, Sona Sola. Really great interview. And also, if you've got kind of an upstart band or you're trying to start out, Camden is also a band manager, so he kind of reveals, you know, sort of unleashes the shroud about managing a band and what it really takes to make it as a band, as a guy who has crowdfunded successful albums, self-produced, toured successfully, came home with money, knows how to merchandise properly, all the things. And then just some recent interviews, cool stuff. Omar interviewed L from Insight at New York Hardcore Tattoos in Manhattan while he got a tattoo, which is pretty fun. You know, drop a comment. Let us know what other kind of interesting and different types of interviews we can do. You know, that might excite you. Not incite you, but Insight, killer band Savage New Times out now. Their new album. Also, I had a recent interview with Devin Townsend. I got to brag about that a little today as I met some metalheads today on my way to brunch. Blinner, I don't know what, but Devin Townsend, great interview. New album, The Moth, is out now. It's phenomenal. Go check it out. Also, my new interview with King Ultra Mega is out with Mark Mengi and Brian Dollar, but also I'm about to talk about Glacial Musical Podcast. Don and I interviewed Dave Krusen, formerly of Pearl Jam and Candlebox, especially well known for Pearl Jam's 10, and he plays on the new King Ultra Mega single Loud Love featuring Lizzie Hale of Hailstorm on vocals. She killed it. So really good stuff there. And yeah, there's that Loud Love little graphic. Also, just a reminder, Glacially Musical's taking a week off this week after our big Pearl Jam interview, but we have started a new series on Deicide, and we'll be coming back next week with this time next week with a new episode, the third out of 4 Deicide early album deep dive. So come check it out and tell us what you think. We appreciate you. It's all good though. I appreciate you guys. Alrighty. What else? You know, we have a podcast. We have a whole bunch of. We're about to hit 1,000 podcasts. I'm proud to say that. We've been kind of beefing up our pods with some supplemental episodes, and I did a whole bunch of audio-only interviews, exclusive stuff at Milwaukee Metal Fest. That's coming soon, so definitely strap in and check that out. You might very well appreciate that. You might. Let's see. And then again, just somebody shouted us out this week on Twitter and Threads. You know, if you have an upstart band, a DIY company, a .org, music related, anything, merch store, anything, DM us, subscribe to us, especially on YouTube and Instagram, and we will promote you in our YouTube videos. It's just a thing we like to do. And then I love, this is like the most fuck around and find out picture of 2026. This douche nozzle was like, look, it's a buffalo, and then the buffalo just fucking whipped him into fucking oblivion. Fucking douchebag. Not everything has to be kind of a selfie moment, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's talk about the news rundown, and as usual with the news rundown, we lead with metal festivals. Hellfest is this weekend, not the Hellfest in France, but the other Hellfest, the Hardcore Hellfest, is in New Jersey at Maggie's Fairgrounds in Lakewood, New Jersey. Hatebreed, Suicide Silence, Glassjaw, VOD, Terror, First Blood, Haywire, Recon, Turmoil, Koyo. I mean, this is, this is crazy. This is a crazy, punchy hardcore fest. Let us know how you do out there. Also, RPM Fest announced their full and final lineup. Monolord, High on Fire, and Chemists are your headliners, with Whores, Dwarves, and Dope Throne right under them. Acid Witch, Squid Pisser, Leather Lung, Ecstatic Vision, who I love, Void, Castle, who just announced a new record. I think they got some other stuff coming up soon. Miracle Blood, just some absolute killer bands. We sponsored RPM Fest a couple of years ago. Would love to get back to do that again someday. Gravitoid Texas Metal and Beer Fest is announced for Houston. Maybe my homie Fahad will go to this. He moved there recently. Duel and Stone Nomads with Bong Wizard, Foster Mother, Sanctus Bellum, Wax Wizard, and Sons of Gulliver, maybe more, at the Bad Astronaut Club in Houston, Texas. That looks rad. I love me some Duel and Stone Nomads. Arctangent Fest has completed their lineup and announced that this will be their final festival at the fairgrounds that they take place in, so we'll have to find a new home in 27. But apparently the announcement that they weren't going to be at this location anymore led to them almost selling out their whole weekend later this summer, August. We're hoping to cover it again. Seek, Cardiacs, and Svalbard with their final ever appearance. Chelsea Wolf, who just announced some new music. Igor, Alcest, Maruda, Ancient Fresco, Tony Danza, Tap Dance Extravaganza. Primus, the biggest headliner Arctangent has arguably ever had. Perturbator, Napalm Death, Arcane Roots, Massive Fermenting Dregs, Cult of Luna, and Julie Christmas performing all of Mariner. Ivor, who I love, High on Fire, Oathbreaker reunited, doing all of Rhea, which I got on vinyl not that long ago and showed off on the show. So really killer job for Arctangent Fest. Hello, Goth. Yo, yourself. If you DM me your demo information, I will check it out. Or you can come on YouTube and super chat or super like us and super whatever sum of money, and I will check it out live on the show. But like, not a lot of people have the stones for that. But DM me, and if you follow us, I will follow you back. Following us always helps. Always. Bloodstock Open Air is coming back this summer. We are hoping to cover it for the umpteenth time. Saxon, Lamb of God, Slaughter to Prevail, and Judas Priest are your headliners. What a killer show. I think the final UK show ever for Sepultura, Bleed From Within, Body Count, Black Label Society, Nevermore, Biohazard, Municipal Waste, Cryptopsy, Wednesday 13, Leprous, Carpenter Brute, Life of Agony, So Kitty, Castle Rats, Orbit Culture, Urn, Vended, North Lane, Death Angel. So many great bands. 200 Stab Wounds, fun band live. Flyover Fest has been announced. This is for later in the year in November. Have Heart, Pain of Truth, and Drug Church are your headliners, along with Comeback Kid, Madball, No Warning, Rotting Out, and again, another punchy hardcore festival. Pretty badass. Riot Fest, we will be covering this again, I hope. Blink 182, Weezer, Jack White, and Green Day are your headliners. More to come on Riot Fest soon. Barcelona Rock Fest is this weekend. Megadeth played tonight with Sex Pistols featuring Frank Carter. Tomorrow is Halloween, Accept, Sabaton, Testament, Primal Fear, Napalm Death, Bleed From Within, Tankard, High Raise, and many more. Sunday is Offspring, Powerwolf, Bad Religion. It's a pretty great 1, 2, 3, very diverse. Breaking Benjamin, Steel Panther, Cavalera playing all of Chaos AD, Chevelle, and more. Really fun. What's up, Richie Rich? What's up? What's up? What's up? Alrighty. Incarceration Fest is the next big U.S. festival besides Summerfest in Wisconsin. Disturbed, Bad Omens, and Limp Bizkit are your headliners, and it's also got a huge tattoo festival. One of these years I'll get out there. I just feel like Ohio in mid-July seems like a bad idea for me, personally, with my health struggles. I'll talk about it. I'll take a break in the middle of the show and talk about it, but yeah. Sick New World, Texas is coming up soon. We covered Sick New World in Vegas. System of a Down, Deftones, and Slayer playing all of Rain of Blood, Evanescence, Ministry, AFI, Manson, Under Oath, Down, Mastodon, Power Trip, pretty killer. Saddest Day Fest again returns with Converge and a special guest headliner we don't know yet. Cave In, Emma Ruth Rundle, Pigpen, Def Club, Final Gasp. Converge will play both days. Chant Pile, Baroness, Agriculture, and Fuming Mouth, and more. Pretty rad. Let's see. Oh. Nation Festival, again, another Cult of Luna, Satyricon, Igor, Carcass, Cacus or Chacus, right, Tara? Health, Wolves in the Throne Room, Crowbar, Triptychon, Walls of Jericho, I Hate God, Car Bomb, Pelican, Weekend Nachos, Merle. A lot of former Ghost Cult interviewees there. The Moth Gatherer, Eyes, Wormed. Michigan Metal Fest is this summer. This looks pretty killer. Green Jelly, Psychostick, Crossbreed, Visitant, Yayo, the X Faces, A Killer's Confession. X Faces is, I believe, a Mushroom Head band of ex-former members. Casket Robbery, The Homies, new interview coming up with Casket Robbery soon. Autumn Lies Buried, Narcotic Wasteland, love them. Monochromatic Black, Hemlock, Hill Crown, Mag Dillon, pretty killer. Into the Grave has announced their first bands for next summer, June 2027. Metal Church, Guerilla, Prong, Hellripper, God Dethroned, playing all of the Grand Guggenheim, Gutlax, Fulci, Insanity Alert, Exhumed Yothira. Sacramento Metal Fest is coming August 1st. Hate Primer, Parabellum, who has a new record out, Unprovoked, Lysol Toast, Eternal Terror, and probably some more. That looks like a lot of fun. And Fortress Fest has announced their first new bands for 2027, and Emperor is the first band announced. Hey, Mortar Scald, what's up? What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. So let's see. What else? What else? What else? Appreciate everybody being here. Hog Rock Festival. I was like, what is this? Hog Daddy's Family Reunion, September 23rd, 24th through the 27th at Cave In Rock. That's where your Full Terror Assault Fest is usually. Green Jello, Scum, Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony solo. Kung Fu Vampire, Lardy B. That's awesome. Insane Poetry, As the Fallen. But yeah, wild. Rap and rock and punk all in the same festival. It's kind of wild. This is upsetting. I hope this would never happen at a rock and metal festival, but at the Electric Forest Festival in Michigan, a newborn baby passed away, was found in a porta potty. What a horrible fucking thing. I don't particularly love babies, but what a terrible fucking thing. If you're pregnant, maybe not go to a rave festival and take a bunch of drugs and then get out your baby into a porta potty. What a horrible fucking thing. Anyway. Hey, Whisker Tits is here on the gram. Good to see you. It was nice to meet you briefly at Milwaukee Metal Fest. That is all the metal festival news. It was great meeting you. It was really great. You're amazing, and I watched you work, and you killed it. I'm really proud of all your successes, and I will be rooting for you from over here. And yeah, thanks for liking the live and all that jazz. Before I go into the music festival, the concert dates and stuff, let me just talk about this for a second. So, I talked about Shaun Glass passing away. That's a guy that I can't say we were close, but we interviewed in the past. I met him a bunch of times. I followed all his bands. I loved Soil. Yeah, I'll catch you soon, Whisker Tits. I loved Soil a lot, and he's just a few years older than me, and he had a stroke. So, obviously I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I just relocated I still live in the Bay Area, but now I'm north of San Francisco. I moved in with my fiance. I'm getting married in less than 2 weeks. Holy shit. But I've had my struggles the last few months with mental health and physical health. I just started taking Manjaro because my diabetes is a little out of control and my weight's not great and my A1C is not great. Other things are getting together. I'm still struggling with my sleep. So far, I haven't had a lot of bad side effects from the Manjaro, but some people report that they have a lot of trouble on it. I credit my fiance for just keeping me sane and stable and minding me a little bit when I can't mind me. But I'm learning slowly how to turn my situation around. It seems like every few years I go through some stuff. So, the Shaun Glass thing hurts. He was around my age. Men, especially, we don't listen to our bodies. We're told to suck it up and not show weakness and not, have issues. And I really would like everybody out there within the sound of my voice, if you're struggling, our DMs are always open, mine and Omar's. Yeah, sorry, Memories Corpse, but I appreciate you wanting to do fireworks. I wish you a lot of luck. Anywho, just wanted to share that little tidbit here. Now I'll go back and talk about some of these tour dates. Metallica is finishing up their summertime M72 tour dates this weekend in the UK, and then they have a little break, and then this big run of dates for the Sphere, and a little bit of other things, Mohegan Sun and stuff like that. Hatebreed has kicked off the Summer Slaughter tour. Super stoked for that. Apparently, they've been killing it the first few shows. I can't say enough good and positive things about Jamie Josta bringing back Milwaukee Metal Fest, doing Summer Slaughter, putting his band on it. Hey, Ben Self, what's up? A couple of weeks ago, because we haven't had a show in a couple of weeks, so Danzig had announced his little mini tour. He really hates touring, but, I'm sure the money is awesome. And then I had mentioned that maybe Acid Bath had canceled their Los Angeles area show because they jumped on a big arena show with Danzig in the same area where they were supposed to have a headline show. But I'm sure Acid Bath can come back and do yet another LA show. I will tell you, as kind of a follow-up on these Danzig tour dates, that Sammy Duet had been doing some interviews. Dax doesn't do the press. He doesn't like the traditional music media. Doing the rock star thing is not for him. He's an artist, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Sammy said, listen, we take every gig, 1 gig at a time, every month, 1 month at a time, every year, 1 year at a time. And when we stop having fun, we're going to walk away and never do it again. So, if you want, I saw Acid Bath at Milwaukee Metal Fest. It was amazing. Some people were like, I didn't get to hear my favorite song. Why didn't they play their most popular stuff? Because, not because Dax is a diva or he can't do it. It's important to him to be authentically himself and not feel like he's just going through the motions up there to make please the fans. It's not important to him. He's an artist, and you have to understand that. And it's the same thing with the Deftones thing. The Deftones don't owe you anything. Dax Riggs doesn't owe you anything. These bands, I love them. I spent my entire life around music since I'm a little baby. And I just like, artists don't owe you anything. They gave you the songs, they gave you the music, and please try to appreciate that. Please try to appreciate that and make that be enough. And if you didn't get that autograph and you didn't get this other thing you wanted, that has to be good enough. Anyway, Turnstile has announced a tremendous, huge headline tour of North America, their second leg of their tour, with a bunch of different bands, including Hate Breed and a few other bands opening, which is really fun. This is coming up for Comic-Con, Transformers, Knights of Unicron with Cold Slither and Gem and the Holograms. I told you the story about Kay Hanley not ever getting paid for the Josie and the Pussycats thing. It's cool to see Raining Phoenix music, though, for Opeth, Meshuggah, Kerry King Solo, and a bunch of other bands. And they're promoting these collabs with Hasbro. They did the Cold Slither thing last year. They're doing the Transformers record this year. I'd like to get my hands on one of those vinyls. Castle, I mentioned them before, playing at RPM Fest. They have announced a brand new album. They did a covers LP earlier in the year, and they have a new album coming out soon and a huge headline tour, so really cool. Also, Fabio Frizzi. I don't know if you guys know the history of Goblin. Any horror fans here watching? Ken, I think that might include you. Goblin did the score to all the Fulci horror films, the Giallo horror films of the 70s and 80s. And so Goblin was this incredible stoner rock, psychedelic rock band. Fabio Frizzi and Claudio Simonetti were both in the band. They had a split. Claudio Simonetti's Goblin operates and does the Goblin music with a live band. Fabio started doing the same thing himself. So he has now announced a huge U.S. tour. And Ethan McCarthy of Primitive Man is going to open and I guess do his like ambient DJ music, which I'm pretty excited about. We will probably try to cover this. Agriculture has announced a whole full-length U.S. tour supporting their current album, The Spiritual Sound, one of my favorite records of last year. Let's see, who else has a tour? Paul Bearer announced additional tour dates. They've been doing the Foundations of Burden tour, but they have a new album coming out too. Just a tremendous year for doom metal. Tremendous year. Lords of Acid has announced another bunch of dates. I'm excited about that. Brit Floyd, which is the UK's biggest Pink Floyd tribute band with like a full, almost like a tremendous complement of musicians and laser lights and a pig and all this. They've announced another leg of their From the Moon to the Wall and Beyond tour, Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, and The Hits. And they announced that Power Mullet, Scott Page is going to tour with the band on saxophone. We know Mel Collins passed away earlier this year. He had been mostly with King Crimson the last 50 years, but he also played on the original Pink Floyd albums back in the 70s. So Brit Floyd, I might want to try to go see them when they come up this way. I think they're playing in Wheatland. Wheatland. Bon Jovi hit the stage this week for his comeback, or late last week, early this week for his comeback. Hey, Alex, the record guy is here. What's up? I'm sorry I missed you in San Francisco, but hopefully I'll run into you some other time. But Bon Jovi, I got to give a tip of the hat. He came off major throat surgery as well as hearing loss problems. I don't know if you've ever been a singer. I have been a singer in bands for a long time. And if you struggle already with your hearing and then your voice goes, yes, thank you for my suicidal hat. I have quite a few. Bon Jovi came out on stage a cappella and sang With a Little Help from My Friends by Joe Cocker, made famous later by the Beatles, right? And the Wonder Years TV series in the 80s. So what would you do if I sang out of key? What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll play you a song. I'll try not to sing out of tune. So really great, hilarious, funny. Good luck to Bon Jovi. I'm rooting for you, Bon Jovi. Best of luck. Crimson Glory has announced that one of their members has fallen ill and they're not going to tour this summer, but they should be back to their full strength for Prague Power. Just a reminder. Macabre, who again just saw at Milwaukee Metal Fest, is really incredible to see them. They have announced a brief headline tour. This should be a lot of fun. This also looks really fun. It's like I was like sometimes a name captivates you more than anything else, you know? Like how do people come up, why didn't I come up with that name? Why didn't I think of that idea first? I keep trying to have big ideas and big things, and I don't know why I didn't think of it first. But this is really funny. This is check this band name out, right? It's it's what's the villain from the first Die Hard? Hans Gruber and the Die Hards and Doom Scroll are going on a tour, and I love this poster. I just thought that was hilariously funny. Also, Tomahawk and Melvin's tour dates approach. Very excited about that. Till Lindemann's Till Fest happened this weekend. Day 1 was today. Day 2 is tomorrow. He came on stage with Ministry. He ran out into the crowd. He took pictures with people. I hear rumors that Rammstein might tour the U.S. next summer. We'll find out. I heard a credible rumor from a good source. Anyway, Grave Huffer's got some tour dates coming up soon. Friend of the show, Grave Huffer. Steve Von Till has announced some additional solo stuff. We know Neurosis is going to play their comeback show at Fire in the Mountains, and I do believe they will announce perhaps Saddest Day, perhaps some other things. I'm hoping next summer they will tour, widely. It should happen. They're working on it now. They hired a new booking agency. But Steve Von Till solo. Ricky Rackman, who has been, I was talking about this earlier with Melissa, my fiance, he has been just going through it. Look, obviously, I got this Headbangers Ball shirt on. I'm a huge Ricky Rackman fan. I've met him. I've interviewed him. He's really gracious and kind and really nice and just loves rock and metal music. So he's doing his One Foot in the Gutter sort of spoken word tour. And if you get a chance, you should definitely go out and see him do it, because I think it's, it's history. He's a storyteller at heart. That's what he does. All right, there's the tip menu once again. If you're feeling tipsy, some announcements. If you want to get your beard hooked up like mine, check out our links in the description and on our link tree for Fable Beard. Also, whenever you see ads at ghostcult.com, that's through our affiliate partnership with Lambgoat. Lambgoat, the much meaner version of Ghost Cult, as you know. Also, Craig Caruso Apps, keeping me in business, keeping our website alive and going after almost 15 years. All right. And again, if you're watching this everywhere but TikTok, you're watching us on StreamYard. Okay. That's all the metal festivals and concert tour dates. And now we're going to just talk about metal news. And this is pretty heavy. I don't know who's watching here from either the EU or the UK. But, we've talked for many moons in a row about Ticketmaster and Spotify and all these big sort of faceless corporations and sort of these sort of things in the ether. They're not tangible. They're hard to put your finger on why it's harder for bands to make it. And so the EU and the UK, right, because of Brexit, where the UK left the European Union just now for summertime, the cost of shipping for records and merch just went astronomically high between UK and the EU. You used to be able to just ship for a flat fee everywhere, and now it's costing, let's say, an LP record that might be 25 Great British pounds is now almost 21 or 22 more pounds just to ship it. This is going to hurt bands. This is going to hurt their bottom lines. This is going to make everything harder if you can't ship a shirt or a patch or a sticker. So we live in these perilous times where these things are out of the control of bands. It's hard enough to just make it. So I wanted to keep this in your mind. But that's the top story today. This is pretty great. I don't think she's here anymore, but Raquel was here earlier. on the show. Raquel Figlo, music publicist, she has a new book coming out. If you have a band and you're trying to make it, you want to check her book out. She got married last weekend by David Ellefson, formerly of Megadeth and currently of Metal Church and Kings of Thrash. They had a humongous, beautiful wedding, and then she had an all-star band of tremendous metal people and rockers playing their wedding, which is dope. And yeah, I'm just very happy for my friend Raquel on her wedding. And I'm getting married in 13 days. So Lord help us. But it's going to be awesome. And I know the big celebrity news right now is about Taylor Swift and her wedding. But I thought this was amazing Taylor Swift news here. Aaron Lewis' new album is used shredded up in the packing material for Taylor Swift's new single. And he goes, oh, look, there's my new album that hasn't even been released yet, shredded as packaging paper in Taylor Swift merch. Ain't that some shit? That was broken by Heavy Consequence. I mean, kind of fuck Aaron Lewis. I used to love Stained. He's kind of a jabroni, butt rock, pop rock kind of guy, we'll call him. Maybe this happens sometimes at record labels. If there's a misprint or an error, they recycle it and use it to pad merch. So, whatever. He's a jerk. I have some more dumbasses in the news later. Sherry Moon Zombie, speaking of couples, Sherry Moon Zombie will put out her debut first ever single and video, I Love My Robot, directed by her husband, Rob Zombie. They are going to do a world video and single premiere at the Morrison Gallery in LA. Robots by Rob Zombie on display. And that is also the only chance to buy a limited edition vinyl single of Sherry's new track. So I thought that was kind of killer. A fun integration between husband and wife, right? And then also Rob Zombie put out a brand new music video for Tarantula, probably the best song on his last record, The Great Satan, which I thought was really great. Actually, really great album by Rob. Probably his best one. Kind of interesting that John 5 is like the most underused guy whenever he's in someone else's band in terms of contributing. It's not because of him. It's because they, can't maybe hang with his music or something. But super interesting that Rob Zombie gets Riggs back in the band and Blasco, and then he puts out this incredible new album. Graveyard recently announced a new album. Graveyard is the great Swedish psychedelic stoner rock band. And their new album, Fever, is coming later this year. But before that, they announced this week that Jonathan Ram has left the band after 20 years. Was said to be amicable. He's going to do other stuff in music as well as spend more time with his family. A lot of musicians, Tobias Forge, a Ghost, Papa Perpetua there, Papa 5, he said that he missed his whole children's upbringing. Bruce Dickinson has been like, I've been on the road for 50 years, 45 years, and I miss everything in my children's lives, and I feel terrible. So, just things to consider. Good, feel-good story of the week. Jello Biafra got back on stage this week at Tentacle Fest for Alternative Tentacles. It was kind of a one-off thing where he came out, stormed the stage, performed for like 10 minutes, and then left. He's still not 100% back right on time for the final day of Pride, by the way, in San Francisco, which I love, that Great American Music Hall. But, just wishing the best for Jello. He's got a long recovery. I know they were like, oh my God, he was back on stage. But, it took a lot out of him to do that. So we'll be patient with him to make a comeback. Vans announced a collaboration with Fugazi, but it's not that Fugazi you're thinking of. The punk rock band Fugazi has never done merch, will never do a merch collab with Vans or anything like that. There's a clothing company founded in 2018 called Fugazi. I don't know how, again, brands, bands, people, Google's your friend. Don't call your fashion brand Fugazi when there is a legendary punk rock band for 45 years called Fugazi. So Discord Records had to put out a statement that it's not that Fugazi, and fuck that Fugazi. Fugazi. You know what I'm saying? All right. I don't know if you guys have been watching the FIFA World Cup. I'm not a big soccer fan, to be honest, but the theme song apparently sounds exactly like a Mutoid Man song. I don't know if they're going to sue, but the similarities are surprising. Here's a picture of Mutoid Man. Shout out to Lauren Sanderson for 1 month of her album Lauren. She posted a really nice uh, post up today about like touring the world. She flew over to England to perform with Limp Bizkit at Download Fest for their collab song Get Some. And Lauren's killer. She's kind of a new metal, rap metal artist, and Fred was her hero. So I like that she got to work with Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit about as big as they've ever been right now. Hard to believe. Just a little post-mortem on Bananagate. Let's talk about Bananagate a little bit here. So end it after like canceling all their social media, making all their social media dark, and continuing to tour and make excuses or not make excuses for beating up the banana guy. They went on tour in Europe playing festivals, and a banana person jumped up toward the front of the stage, and the front person of End It hugged the banana person, the banana suit person. So that's a nice, happy ending to a not great story, but just still funny. Funny to me. So, Friendship Commanders is a band that put a new record out last year. We interviewed them here on our channel. Probably ran earlier this year. They had done their previous album with Steve Albini, who died last year, the great producer of Nirvana and Pumpkins and a bunch of other bands. And so they're re-releasing that Outlive You on vinyl, which I thought was kind of killer job. Speaking of reissues, Gojira's Magma is 10 years old. Where have the last 10 years gone? I have a copy of this back home, but the reissue looks mint. I'm excited about it. This is the time of year when a lot of new albums get announced or released. Bayside from Queens, New York, homies, they dropped a new EP and a new single and video. I've interviewed that band before. We'll hopefully interview them again someday. This is pretty interesting. Dazzling Killmen, who's a band we reviewed a lot and covered a bit, said in a statement that, like, their reunion is going to end. Basically, they put out their classic record reissued, and then on Skin Graft Records, and then they put a new record out, and, they were like, how come all these bands that say that we influenced them, like Converge and Dillinger Escape Plan, haven't been asking us to tour? We're here now. So, he's like, we're going to go away because this shit is not working out. So I'm sad to hear that, but Dazzling Killmen, if they come near you, go see them, because bands that you love them and copied them. Pretty rare, raw. Been a few weeks since we've been on the show. So Marilyn Manson has announced his next record, the part 2 sequel to his last record, which I quite enjoyed. That's the One Assassination Under God Chapter 2 album. Will be out August 14th. I'm excited to hear some more of it. I did hear the first new single. I thought it was on par with the last record. So he really has seemed to clear up his act, which is really fun. And good for him if you're a Manson fan. All right. Speaking of cops and rock, Five Finger Death Punch has announced a brand new album complete with this hideous, horrendous fucking AI album cover. Five Finger Death Punch Legacy, 20 years of Five Finger Death Punch. I didn't hear the new song. We usually cover the band somehow, but like I don't yearn and burn to cover them, just not my whole thing. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, word up, 80s horror. Cool. Oh no, Ken. That's hilarious. Anyway, yeah, Five Finger Death Punch. Ugh. Anyway, just a reminder in case you missed it. Speaking of Smashing Pumpkins, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, Billy Corgan's National Wrestling Alliance has gone into a partnership with Tubi. I think this is hella interesting. I know wrestling, again, is huge right now. It's kind of big as it's ever been, maybe even comparable to almost to the 80s, where it's got like that cult of personality thing. Bail Me Out of My Car is here. AC is here. Dirty Radio FM is here. It's nice to see all y'all folks showing up. Feel free to give us some awards or whatever on TikTok, whatever the shit that is. I don't fucking know. But thanks for being here and watching, everybody. Green Lung has a new album coming out soon. I'm pretty stoked for that. The great Swedish psychedelic rock band. They're pretty rad. Still don't know how I feel about Sleep without Matt Pike. Neither party has said anything. Again, nothing against Bubba Dupree, who fucking rules. He's a great guitar player. But I just don't know how I feel about Sleep without Matt. Granted, he wasn't a founding member. It's Al's band. It's just weird to me that Sleep and High on Fire are both touring at the same time. I guess I will have to listen to the Sleep record at some point, but like this is one of my favorite bands. I own almost more Sleep vinyl than any other band except Tool, probably, or Black Sabbath. I don't know. Or Metallica. Nonpoint announced their new album, The Last Word, with this very curious album cover with the pencil with two sharpened points. Nonpoint, always very consistent and good. I'm excited for that. The Life Project from Josh Rand and his romantic partner, Cassandra from Paralandra, dropped a cover of Suicidal Tendencies, You Can't Bring Me Down. Speaking of suicidal, a lot of fun. Josh, formerly of Stone Sour, usually every time he puts out some new music, all the media asks him about is Stone Sour, which is basically defunct because of Corey Taylor. So he says. All right. Vampires Everywhere dropped a brand new single with the singer of Alessania. Very cool. There's Green Lung again for some reason. This is a bit of a surprise. Bad Wolves is on their next new lead singer. Sarah Kilboy is the new singer. First time to have a female singer of Bad Wolves. They used to have Tommy Vext, who I know for a long time. And then DL Laskowitz, formerly of the Acacia Strain, and now Sarah is the singer, probably trying to do a Linkin Park thing. Bad Wolves is a huge chart-topping heavy rock band, heavy, sometimes metal. Be interesting to see what kind of stuff Sarah does to do the songs live from the other two vocalists with her different style, but we'll see. Also, Enslaved this week dropped a brand new single, a collaborative track with one of the members of the Blackfeet Nation. Enslaved is going to be one of the curators and headliners of Fire in the Mountains, along with Neurosis, coming up soon. And they dropped a brand new song, Spirit Healer, which I rather love. I gotta say, I love this era of Enslaved, where they're just doing experimental stuff and partnerships and collabs. Really fun. Really great. This is pretty awesome. Ice Nine Kills has been teasing new music. We know we're getting a lot of new metalcore records this fall. Play Dead is the new single by Ice Nine Kills. I don't know if anybody out there is a huge fan of theirs, but I remember when they were a terrible ska band in Revere, Mass. 20 years ago. But they're somehow a competent metal band with horror, horror aesthetics and their own horror convention. And Sarah Kilboy from Bad Wolves is also a horror director, an indie horror director, so props. This is pretty interesting. Metal Rocks is a sort of video network in Europe that is on Rakuten. I didn't know they had a TV channel, but also through Samsung devices and TVs, they have programming in Africa, the United Arab Emirates, and Europe. And now they expanded their coverage and expanded their offerings. So that's a thing to watch for the future. There are kind of a lot of fun, smaller metal video services, especially for Europe. So stay tuned to see if that ever makes it over to the States. The Hollywood Vampires, comprised of Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp, Joe Perry, and many others, dropped a new single. They have teased a new album. I believe that's coming out this fall. Just wild, all the new stuff coming out. This is Mr. Bison is a great stoner rock band on Heavy Psych Sounds Records, and The Garden of Forgotten Dreams is their upcoming new album. I'm pretty pumped for that. A lot of great new music coming out, announced this summer. I am bringing back a new feature here on the show. the Ass Clown of the Week. This was a big deal during the pandemic because there seemed to be new ass clowns all the time. And I need to just, here's uh, Michael Bolton from Office Space, one of my favorite people in film and comedy. Dave Herman, director and actor. And that's the first time I ever heard the word ass clown ever used. So, ass clown of the week. I'll come up with some kind of graphic with Dave's picture here. Ask Clown of the Week is Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, sometimes I don't want to be mean, but say maybe the wrong Corey died. He's very good at publicity. He's very good at keeping the media engaged about him. But Corey Feldman kind of sucks, and here's why. He gave a interview this week where he said he wanted to do a collab with Mike Patton, but thought he was involved in some cult stuff, evil cult things. This is a guy who worships Michael Jackson, who I also love the music, but like metal is the pants, 665, what up, what up? Good to see you. But yeah, Corey Feldman, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you are the ass clown of the week, maybe the ass clown of the summer. Just fucking wild. What a dick. All right. Now it's time for New Music Friday, and let's just quickly run through all the new music that came out today. I know it's the 4th of July weekend, but you might have nothing going on and you want to listen to some rad metal. We've got you covered. Every week, Ghost Cult, we preview all the new rock and metal stuff coming out. So I'm going to just quickly, a couple of people have asked us if we would do genres added into the list in the preview. I have to talk to my partner about that, but let's just give you a few things. New records out for 4th of July weekend. Agaran, Murder Trend Over the Border Records for some black metal, black and death metal. Corprolith, Putrescence on Misako Un Oho Records, which is always a death metal label. Dead, the great rap metal, new metal band from Arizona. Resent, the deluxe edition on UNFD Records. Deep Purple, their new album Splat, haven't heard it yet. They're really excited. Dominum, great UK metal band, Night is Calling on Napalm Records. Doro live re-release on her own Rare Diamonds Records. Frolic, the great Bay Area thrash metal band, Legacies of Cybernetica on Hectic Records. Gods and Punks, again, we premiered their new album, A Shrine by the Sea on Electric Valley Records. Harsh Feels, Fireflash Records for some heavy metal. He Didn't, Dark Making on Drone Alone Records, solo metal artist. Ill Wind, The Unfolding at the End of Light on Personal Records for some death metal. Let's see. LA Guns live from the Guild Theater on Cleopatra Records. LA Guns somehow still out there doing the thing. Missio, Love and Heartbreak on the Network label. Moonspell, their new album, Far From God. High marks at ghostcultnag.com on Napalm Records for some gothic metal. Motorhead, Kiss of Death 20th Anniversary Edition on BMG. I like the remix on that by their producer, who I interviewed not that long ago. Let's see. Red Dwarf Star, self-titled on Pelagic Records for some post-metal. Smirk for some alternative rock speculative fiction on Smoking Room Records. The Comeback of Solace, Fading, Falling, Ruin on Magnetic Eye Records. Soothsayer, The Unbinding on Apocalyptic Witchcraft Records. Let's see. Total Mal, Graveyards of Joy on Season Mist for some black metal. Troy the Band is back for some proggy metalcore. Death, self-released. Vessel of Light re-release on No Life Till Metal. And Witch Sorrow, which we also reviewed, The Great Devil and all his works on Church Road Records. That's all the new music to come out this week. You've got your hands full with a lot of new stuff. Now, the next to last, or the last segment of the show, is always the mailbag. I just love this image here, if you want to see this really quick. This is like oops, sorry. My bad. That's the wrong thing. Some kids are playing Guitar Hero at a contest, and Zakk Wylde is behind them watching them play the contest. So that's kind of fun. Your Guitar Hero is right here. So let's talk about the mailbag. So I had some technical difficulties a few weeks back, and I unboxed a whole bunch of stuff from Relapse Records, and I don't have my whole setup here. I don't have my second camera angle yet. So I thought what I would just do tonight is I got a handful of records. Some are brand new, and I can unbox them and show them to you. And some of them are things I've been hanging on to that aren't exactly brand new, but they're new to you. So I'm going to share a couple of things with you. So what I got today in the mail is the new album, probably one of my top 10 records of the year so far. This is Sun Don't Shine, the supergroup of members of Typo Negative, Crowbar, and Down. And this is their album From Birth to Death out on Corpse Paint Records. Shout out to Corpse Paint Records. This is the Revolver Magazine Special Edition, which comes in a vinyl variant. That's rad. And also share some of this with you here. And again, I don't have the other angle. Too bad. It does have a lyric sheet, I believe. And then it came on this awesome blue color, this like blue marble, if you can see it here. Really cool, blue marble. And it also has this mini vinyl. This is adorable. Look at this thing. Sun Don't Shine, Dreams Always Die with the Sun vinyl single. Look at this baby vinyl single. Look how cool that is. I'm going to check that on my other podcast next week also because it's that rad. So that's brand new. Also kind of not new, but from late 26. And I just kind of found it among my pile of records, among my stacks of albums, is the throwback reissue from Sylvain, Egg Air Fremond on black vinyl, limited to 300 copies worldwide, the first pressing of this on vinyl ever. I'm a big Sylvain fan for your people who love Ivor, Wardruna, Heilung. Sylvain is great. She's toured with Ivor as an opening act. This is the front cover. It has a gatefold for a single vinyl, not too shabby. I believe this was put up by Season of Mist. Here's the gatefold if you want to see it in all its glory. Day is the #1 viewer here. Thanks for liking live. I appreciate you. Give us a sub, and I will follow and sub back to you when we're done here. And then this is just on the plain black 180 gram vinyl. I'm a big Sylvain fan. She's also similar to Emma Ruth Rundle. Chelsea Wolfe, who has a new record coming out soon, just the A and the B side with the rooms. Very nice, right? And then finally, and I'm going to open this from scratch. I just got this last week, right before I moved from San Francisco to my new town, in with my fiance, is the reissue, the 20th anniversary reissue of Down Over the Under on the special vinyl variant from Nuclear Blast Records, red and black marbled vinyl. Let's crack this bad boy open. New Down music coming later this year. We've had some Down singles. Was a little confused that they chose to go with a cover as their first thing back, but actually it's kind of on brand for them to do kind of their own thing and not do what everybody expects of them. I do believe we'll be getting a whole new Down record at some point soon, which will be rad, especially with all the other bands those guys have going on. Pantera on tour with Metallica, Crowbar having about as big a success as they've ever had. COC's incredible new album, which will surely be, again, among my top records. This is definitely going to be bound to be one of my favorite reissues of the year. There are some great reissues yet to come. I mentioned the Gojira one earlier. So here's the Down Over the Under on double vinyl. Has never had a vinyl release. Here's your front cover. This is the third Down album. So front cover. Just get a good look at this guy here. Again, front cover, back cover with the great Down Jesus Philip. Iconic. And here's the lineup. Rex Brown left the band after this record, and Patrick Brothers is now the bassist of Down. But anyway, let's just take a quick look. I'm sure these are identical, so I'll just show one of these. Tremendous track listing on this record also. So here's Down, the A, B, the A side, beautiful red and black marbling. It really looks good here on the main camera angle on the A side and the B side. Down 3. Really beautifully done, man. And again, some of the most underrated and great songs in the Down history. Three Suns and One Star, The Path, Nod, Ice Cream, March of the Saints, Never Try, Mourn, Beneath the Tides, His Majesty the Desert, Pyramid, In the Thrall of It All, and Nothing in Return, which is amazing. Oh, lost the light there. That was bound to happen. All right. Anyway, and that is the whole show, everybody. That's the mailbag, and that is the deal in a somewhat manageable 1 hour and 11 minutes for a quite long show, considering the layoff in the week. Hopefully, when I get back next week, I have my entire home studio set up, or at least maybe not decorated fully, but all working and all my camera angles and all my everything, all my lights and everything. So my key light is missing. All my things are not set up yet. But I just want to say thanks so much for that, girl Kaya. What's up? Thanks for everybody for being here. Thanks for watching. It is July 4th weekend in America, but as usual, please don't drink and drive. Be safe out there. And as I say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world. So take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Hydrate, bitch. It's hot out there. There's a heat wave going on across the world. And I'm Keefe at ghostcultmag.com. Check us out. Like and subscribe. Do all the things. I appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next week this time. Peace. Have a great one. One of these does it. Malfunction. There we go. Peace, y'all.